We had a pretty awesome New Year's Eve party in here last night, as would be typical fashion. The jerk blocks were not used for lifting weight; they were used for some epic games of beer pong, and of which I did win. All right, guys, welcome back to Jerk Block Talk. I'm Jason Fernandez. We're here at CrossFit Rife. Happy New Year's Day, 2017. So I didn't think it would be any more appropriate to start off the year with how do we lay out the calendar and plan the year. I was in here today cleaning out the gym. We had a pretty awesome New Year's Eve party in here last night, as would be typical fashion. The jerk blocks were not used for lifting weight; they were used for some epic games of beer pong, and of which I did win. But we had a really awesome time. And then I was in here today cleaning everything up, and I wanted to lay this out and talk to you guys a little bit about the process that we went through about 3 weeks ago when we started really laying out the plan for 2017. And embarrassingly so, my background in the military is planning, logistics planning, tactical planning, things of that nature. And I have that skill set, and until this year, I have failed as a leader to actually transfer that skill set into our gym so that we could be as successful as possible. This year, no more. We sat down, we took a whole day, we blocked out a whole day on the calendar. We videotaped all of it, so we're going to do a little video and show you guys kind of what we did when we were there. We went into iFly, did some flying and stuff there too. So it was a really, really good time. But beside that, it was just wildly productive. We got everybody in a room. We locked ourselves in a room for 8 hours, did a bunch of different stuff. And when we left there, we had a really, really solid plan and layout and outlook for 2017. Now, most people look at this process and they're like, it's wildly simple. Yeah, everybody knows that. But here's the thing. A lot of things that will make you successful are very simple. The difference is you actually doing those things to make yourself successful. Everybody knows that if you want to be fit, you should train a little bit harder and train a little bit smarter. But this is where the difference between being successful and not being successful plays out. Some people don't train a little bit harder. Some people don't train smarter. So I'm going to give everybody a basic outline of how we went about planning for 2017 and talk to you a little bit about how we went about that. So first and foremost, if you guys are a military background, lessons learned is kind of a big thing there. When you do any sort of exercises, operations, you're always going to do a recap on the exercise, the operation, to figure out, okay, what went well, what didn't go so well. So that is where we started the retreat. When we did our retreat, we did a full evaluation of 2016. It was no holds barred. It was like, hey, we really are terrible at these things. We thought we did this pretty well, and these are the areas for improvement. And we spent about 2 hours just on that piece, evaluating the gym, our coaching abilities, ourselves as just people, and it was a really, really good exercise. So I think it's best to start there, because if you start here with doing an evaluation of what just happened, it really, really lays a much better foundation for going forward. So after you do a really solid evaluation of the previous year, now you want to go in and you want to go and set goals. And the reason you do it in this order is because once I do my evaluation, this is really going to drive your goal setting for 2017. So we find out what we're bad at. We ask ourselves, hey, based on these things that we didn't do well, where should we put the majority of our focus as coaches, as a gym, to have the most beneficial way forward for us as a staff and for our members to provide the most value. So that's why you go evaluate, then you set your goals. Don't get crazy with the goals. General rule of thumb is like we like to use 3 to 5. Anything more than that just gets a little bit funky. And then you can also do different types of goals. So we have goals as a gym. We have goals personally. Each of the staff members have goals, and then we have different professional development goals that we would do. So you can get into different types of goals, but usually you really don't want to try to exceed 3, because anything past that, you probably will start not getting those goals. You'll get distracted by too much stuff. Then, once you've set those goals, then here's what we did. And I'm really, really pumped about this because we've never actually done this before. When we left the retreat, we had the entire 2017 calendar set. It was done all the way through December. We literally planned out everything. I'm talking about, we planned out our staff meetings. We planned out our socials for the year. We planned out when we're going to order retail. We planned out, everything, you name it, we planned it, and it's on the calendar now. Everybody has access to the calendar, and that's going to be what drives our staff meetings every month. It's going to make us much more proficient as a staff. It'll allow us to have a little bit more fun. But that was based on what we decided we wanted to achieve, right? So we decided what we didn't do well, what we did well. We decided what we wanted to achieve. Then we laid out the calendar. And we laid out the calendar based on what we wanted to achieve. This is where you can make a mistake here. You need to decide what you want to do, and then lay out the calendar, and then you need to do a check on yourself. Does the calendar match what I want to achieve? Okay? Does what we just laid out, do these behaviors match where I want to go? And if it doesn't, then rewind, go back, redo it again, and then make sure that it matches the goals. Really, really good exercise. I'm super pumped for our members this year because I think we're going to have the best year ever. But it was a super awesome kind of exercise to go through this flow as a team. Everybody had input. Everybody, and if you don't have a little bit of arguing and bickering when you do this whole thing, you're probably not doing it right. So there should be a lot of disagreement here. There should be a lot of, throwing ideas on the table, finding out what's good, what's bad. But this is how you're going to go about setting your calendar for 2017. And if you haven't done that, I really think you should do it. This is the kind of stuff that's going to help you lay out your social media calendar, which will keep you from being really haphazard about how you put out content and how you produce information, what kind of programming you're going to do, if you're going to run challenges, things of that nature. That stuff needs to go on the calendar. It needs to go on the calendar so it can be taken into a broader context of what's going on in the year. That way everything that you do feeds everything else. So lay this thing out, do this whole process. I think you'd be really pumped at the end. And some of this you can do if you're not really good with goal setting, or if you struggle with evaluating. There's something called mind mapping, and essentially it's kind of a free-flowing exercise. You can use a paper. They have software for this stuff. I'll link up some information on that. I think it's 8,000, I forget what it's called, 8,027 hours or something. I think it's like that. But it's basically the number of hours in a year. And the way it works for mind mapping is it starts out with a central idea in the middle of the paper, and then it just branches out from there. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. It's just free-flowing thought to get everything on paper so that you can clean it up later. But if you want to do some mind mapping, it involves a whole lot of sometimes very, very painful evaluating, lots of questions you have to answer. And if you answer those honestly, you'll probably come up with a really, really good product. But give it a shot. So if you haven't done this, there's still a ton of time. I know it's only January 2nd, but it's never too late to map out the year. You have tons of time. This will probably take you, if you do it correctly and you really, really dive in there hard, take you 2 weeks max to lay this all out. Make sure you can deconflict anything you got going on there. And then what it allows you to do, it just allows you to be very, very flexible throughout the year when other things pop up. You already have things planned. You can just immediately say yes or no or maybe, depending on what you already have laid out on your calendar as a gym owner or a head coach, or if specialty seminars pop up that you want to go take. All of this stuff is already on the calendar, and you can figure out where everything else fits in those empty blocks on the calendar so that you can be as efficient as humanly possible. So I'm super pumped that we did it. I think you'll be super pumped that you do it. If you do it, you won't regret it. It's a super, super cool exercise. So again, do evaluation, lessons learned, what'd you do well, what didn't you do so well. Go ahead and set those goals for the upcoming year. And again, this can be gym related, they could be coach related, like what am I not good at as a coach? What do I need to do? Maybe I can map in some things, or I'm gonna go do some specialty courses based on things that I've figured out I wasn't very good at as a coach. clean that stuff up, make myself more well-rounded, and then lay that stuff out on the calendar. Cool? Super pumped for the year. We have some really good ideas for you guys, and we took a little bit of a break. I think we put out 58 episodes in about 2 months or so, and so we took a little bit of break, reevaluated, make sure that we were on the right track, figure out how we want to do an evaluation on the show to figure out how we could make it a little bit better moving forward to provide you guys more value when you guys watch this. We don't want to waste your time. So 2017 is going to be fun. Good luck to everybody, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leave some comments if you have questions about some of the things that we mapped out this year. I'd be more than happy to share them with you. And check the show notes on here. I'll give you some information on the mind mapping here so you can go through that exercise yourself. Thanks a lot, guys. Crush 2017. We'll see you next time. Thanks.